So yeah, I have a story to tell. Well, before that, I have to say it's been raining for like 8 o'clock, and it's now like 1 o'clock, and it's just kind of insane. Like it's been raining for that long. So yeah, that's completely unrelated, but that's what is happening right here now. But I have to say something about when I was a student. So let's set you a scene. It's the first day of the week, so I go to school and I'm like, they're moving stuff, and I'm like, huh, what is happening? And just then like, nah, this ain't my problem, and just moved on. Then I enter my class and see a touch TV thing, what you might call it, and I'm like, what? When did they get this money? When did they get the money for this? This TV was like installed in every classroom to replace our physical boards, like using pens type board. And the story behind why we have it is that there was a military officer who came to our school and quote unquote invested in our school. I assume, I think, what I think is there's something foul afoot because there's no benefit to be had. People don't do shit out of the goodness of their heart. So there's something foul afoot. And I'm like, yeah, that's sure. And then our VP comes into our class and says, this was a gift from a military officer. Now you don't destroy it or I will beat your ass. And he's giving this lecture and then leaves. And now, since they didn't install it completely, so it didn't turn on because the wiring for it to turn on wasn't there, because of course it wasn't, so it didn't turn on. And then it wasn't on for like most of the day, so one of a few people that I know, like three people, start touching the board that wasn't on, and two of them wrote their name and one of them wrote numbers on it, on the off board, like with touching the screen. And our monitor, whatever you want to call him, is the most stuck up dude you have ever met. Like he's doing it like he's like he's like a moderator, like one of them Reddit mods who takes their job way too seriously. And he's taking his job way too seriously, and he drags the three people to the principal's office. Nobody else, just straight up to the top. And the principal doesn't even listen to what they have to say, and it's like, so he did this, touch the board, right? And another thing, this exact thing was happening in another class, like the class literally next to us, which had the TV, and the TV was working for them. And they like started touching the TV and started going visiting websites, doing everything you do with a touch screen. And nobody does anything. Like the entire class is touching the screen, actually doing shit with it, but nobody does anything about it. Like they have their own monitors, they have their own prefects, nobody does anything. And then these happen two of them happen to be my friends, and one of them I used to know very well back, way back when. So I'm like, I was sitting very far away, so I didn't understand at first what was happening, and I was like, why my bro's going? And then I heard that, well, they were touching the board and going to be suspended, and I was like, what? Like, that's a sentence for touching a goddamn board? That's insane. Like they were supposed to be suspended for a week for, I mean, I get you may put a punishment for touching the board, but everyone was doing it. And not even in our class, and I mean the other class, but it wasn't even on. No damage was done. It worked perfectly when they turned it on eventually. Nothing went wrong. And you were telling me for just touching a screen that you would be suspending the dudes. I was like, what the hell? And then I go to meet those people in the break, in our break, and I'm like chatting it up because I guess as I said, they were my friends at the time. So I just talk to them, chat it out, and then I, one of them was crying because I guess he was very upset. One of them was just pissed, and then another guy was like, "Yeah, it happens. You can't do anything about it. Well, like, chill." And I'm just chatting it up, talking about them, what happened, what did they do, what everything. So they, after like the break ends, we go to our class. Like 10 to 30 minutes later, the people who were going to be suspended came up to our class and were writing a letter, so that because our school is so old fashioned that you have to write a letter for shit to happen. So they were writing a letter so that they may not get suspended. It didn't work, not at all. And after the everything was set in stone, like they were given the suspension papers, the person who was angry before, not before, like in the break he wasn't angry as much, but after he got pissed, he was livid. And I was just on, I was uh, kind of just laughing at it because it's just insane to me, for me to think that just touching a board, not doing anything, it wasn't even on, just touching it, writing your name on an off board or just writing numbers on it would end you up in suspension. And as far as suspension goes, it is very mild. I know. A week suspension, that's the very minimum. But for such a simple offense, this is a very, very big punishment. Like, this is the type of punishment that you get after beating somebody half to death. It's not, this is not equal. That really just shows how much our school gave a damn about the kids. It could not give less of a shit. Like, there's another story that I wanted to tell you that I will, I guess. So there's another story that I wasn't personally part of, like not my friend, none of that. So a group of people who one of their friends was attacked, uh, got, I think, beat up by a 10th grader. It was when I was in 8th grade. So one of this group's friend got beat up, and then when this group realized that their friend got beat up, they cornered the 10th grader and beat his ass half to death. And well, obviously that is unacceptable by any measure. So his father, the person who was a 10th grader's father, called the cops, the basically FBI on them. They calls the cops on them, and the dumbasses who actually committed the crime were recording themselves committing the crime. I don't get this at all. If you're going to do it, why are you recording it? Like, you're giving your own proof. And I guess the recording was given to the person who got beat up, the 10th grader, and his father just gave that recording to the police. And well, all of them got their asses whooped after that. Probably they this happened right before final exams, like a few days before final exams. And I was like, yep, sure. I barely cared about it at that point. I could not care less because, well, the exams were literally 1 month away and I could not give a damn. Well, I did know what happened, but after the exams they finally got expelled because, well, they failed because they were not allowed to take the exams. They didn't get expelled outright, they were just not allowed to take the exams. And that's how it ended. They didn't get to take the exam, so they got expelled because they failed in the exam. Or yeah, that's what happened. And this was my school stories. And that's about it for me. Bye.